Okay, for a democracy to flourish, one needs a formidable opposition and a free press. Some says both are in tatters today. And so today we're taking a shift from our usual non-political approach and discussing the rumblings within the India's grand old party, the Congress party. Joining me at the moment is the man who's been in the news apart from Sachin Pilot in the last 24 hours, Sanjay Jha. Thanks very much, sir, for taking time out. I want to first begin by asking you, we heard, of course, we've been hearing a lot, but that's happening currently in Rajasthan at the moment. Is it symptomatic of what the Congress party has become today? Doesn't want dissenting voices to flourish, doesn't want people who speaks against its own administration to go on and continue in the party.
Well, Shweta, I can tell you that the logical Indian would be very disillusioned with the way the Congress party is functioning. People have huge expectations from the grand old party. And it's understandable that, today there is a lot of public disenchantment with the fact that the Congress forget losing elections. Ultimately, the character of any political organization is how do you regroup and fight back? There has been tremendous demoralization of the Congress workers simply because of the fact that we have not engineered a movement to make a spectacular comeback. The way the Congress has of late, for example, been politically mishandling situations like the loss of Jyotiraditya Scindia, giving away the Madhya Pradesh government back to the BJP after remaining for 15 years in isolation in that state.
Right.
Which a lot of people would agree with me when I say was political harakiri. And Rajasthan was frankly eminently avoidable. So I do believe that we have an uphill task before us.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Congress party cannot be written off. It's a great organization. It's going through its existential challenges as we talk.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's imperative that there are steps taken immediately to course correct.
Right. I mean, you wrote against the Congress party, your own political party, and you paid a price for it. Is this something that you expected? You thought that this is the party I've given my life and sweat and blood to, and I would be, sacked, and I would be sacked as first the Congress spokesperson and then subsequently from the party itself?
Well, Shweta, to be honest, I never wrote anything against the Congress party. If you read my pieces that I wrote in the Times of India and even the subsequent interviews that I've given, I have kept highlighting that the grand old party needs a reinvention, a renewal, a resurrection, a resuscitation, call it what you like.
Right.
This is not just my view. This is the view of probably some of the most prominent leaders in the party and definitely the millions of Congress karyakartas all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't change, frankly, we will fade into oblivion. Simple.
Right.
As far as to whether I was surprised, I was definitely disappointed at the extremely curt, almost impertinent, if not downright rude manner in which I was packed off. I'm using the word packed instead of sacked, just to kind of give it a new variety. And for example, for me to discover on television that I've been terminated or my membership has been suspended is a monumental joke, because the first thing in any democracy, corporate democracy or political democracy that you do is you tell the person, excuse me, but these are your list of shenanigans. Would you like to explain your position? Nothing has been said to me. I've just been told that I'm anti-party. Now, Shweta, am going to ask this party in a formal letter, maybe tomorrow or day after, asking them to enumerate what are these breach of discipline. If telling the party that we need to strengthen internal democracy, or we need to get a dynamic new leader, or give a suggestion as to how we need to reorganize ourselves is anti-party, or is committing, some kind of blasphemous violation of party protocol, the party has to tell me that. So for me to discover both my sacking as a national spokesperson and then the suspension of my membership through television channels, I think that really, frankly, was more disappointing because I expect Congress to conduct itself with a lot more grace than it normally does.
So you talk about the rut in the Congress party, you talk about democracy in the party, and you're suspended thereafter. This whole facade, Sanjay, about Congress being a very democratic party and asking all the opposition parties to follow suit, it looks like a facade now, all of a sudden, after, unceremonious sacking of not just Sachin Pilot, but yours as well, and a number of other important leaders, including Priyanka Chaturvedi and a couple of others who the Congress party has lost. Some said these were the young guns, including you yourself, who stood up for the party and who came on record officially after the 2014 defeat. So it is indeed a big loss for the party itself.
But Shweta, let me give you just one example. The very fact that there are so many established politicians in the Congress party, tremendous political experience, people who have actually contributed not just to winning of elections but to governance in the country. They have been ministers and performed remarkably well. For them to be mummified or forced to keep quiet because if they speak up, it will create some kind of a revolution, and then somebody is going to come and say, this is kind of sacrilege. I mean, I'm not able to fathom our political culture. I always thought we were going to be a liberal outfit. Rahul Gandhi should welcome all kinds of criticism. I come from a school of thought, Shweta, where my boss, I remember, once told me that always surround yourself with people who give you the bad news first. I maintain that that's the only way an organization can prosper, any organization. So if we are going to be cocooned and somewhere, we divorce ourselves from the reality, it doesn't mean that the reality changes. It just means that we have become ignorant of what we must know.
Right. All right. Who are the existing people who you still bank on in the Congress party? You said something very interesting. You said it's not the end of the Congress party. It's just a rut that needs to be taken out of the Congress party for the Indian democracy to flourish once again. We must have a formidable opposition. Who are the people you're banking on in the Congress party at the moment?
But I really feel that no one can write off the Congress party. I mean, anyone who does so at their own peril. The Congress has got a great organizational apparatus. Unfortunately, it's become very atrophied. It just, the energy and the kinetic outburst of madness is missing. A political organization needs to be buzzing all the time. I think that has now become conspicuous by its absence, but it's got an apparatus. Probably every household in India at some point has voted for the Congress party. There is a base. There are workers in Uttar Pradesh who have never seen power for almost 3 decades, in West Bengal, in Tamil Nadu, and they still stand by and fight for the Congress. I think what we have done is we have eroded that goodwill. We have taken that so much for granted. And that's what somewhere angers me. That how is the Congress party losing election after election and not huddling up together to say, what's the new way forward? What's the new mark disha we are looking for? हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्या बदलाव लाएं, क्या आप सुधार लाएं, परिवर्तन की जरूरत है, ये सब जानते हैं, लेकिन बोलने में सब लोग एक तरीके से डरपोक के जैसा हिचकिचाते हैं. That is not the way forward. You got to take the bull by the horns. You got to say, well, this is what I messed up. These are the kind of fault lines. Let's fix it. If the Congress party is not going to have internal dialogue, I mean, who are we going to talk to? That's a problem.
Okay, but what was the whole drama about in 2019, where we saw Rahul Gandhi stepping down, saying that we need a different party president? We still settle in for what we essentially know as the Gandhi dynasty. This, in a sense, just goes on to vindicate the harsh comments by the BJP that only Gandhi and Nehru family can run the Congress party. They're not really ready for any other leadership.
Well, I thought Rahul Gandhi actually opened the window for change when he resigned and said that no Gandhi family member will return as the Congress president. I thought that was a brilliant political statement. It would get the Congress rid of its entire dynastic baggage that Mr. Modi and the others feasted on. I have no explanation for why the great Congress Working Committee, which has the heavyweight political veterans apparently, and why they were sitting on it for months. I mean, can you imagine, a year has gone, a year and 1 month, and the Congress doesn't have a president on a permanent basis. Mrs. Gandhi is only an interim president. The interim is now becoming permanent. Now that's another monumental farce that we are creating. And the CWC had to appoint somebody, invite 4 or 5 people. I would have loved to see maybe a Sachin Pilot. That time even Jyotiraditya was in the party. He could have thrown his hat in the ring. You had Dr. Shashi Tharoor as a potential candidate. Maybe Mr. Chidambaram. I don't know. 4 or 5 good people could really throw their hat in the ring. We have not allowed that to happen. And this is where the Congress party is getting damaged. Now there are rumors that Mr. Gandhi is planning to come back, in which case people are going to ask him, and you in the media have a right to ask him, Mr. Gandhi, you said it that you're not coming back. And now you are coming back yourself? I mean, does the Congress party have no talent, no potential leader? I mean, these are serious issues on the reputational capital of the Congress.
Right. Now, this would perhaps be the 100th launch of Rahul Gandhi in my living memory, and I'm not too old, I can say that. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of us are actually done with the relaunch of Rahul Gandhi again and again, every second year. Coming back to Rajasthan, it was, of course, the unceremonial sacking of Sachin Pilot also that has raised eyebrows. You being a Congressee, you say that I'm a proud congressman, whether I am a part of the party or not. There are a number of people from the old guard as well, and his former colleague who are sympathizing with Sachin Pilot at the moment. What do you think could have happened alternatively? Sanjay, those of us who are looking at Rajasthan right now, we know that Sachin Pilot revolted. We know that he challenged the government there. What do you think Rahul Gandhi could have done? What was the right approach that could have been adopted to, so to say, just not allow all this drama to happen in the last 24 hours?
Shweta, it was absolutely an easy solution. This was not as complex and intractable as the Congress party had made it out to be. Number one, Mr. Gehlot has already been chief minister twice. This is his third term. Already 18 months are over. What the Congress party ought to have done is to have said, Mr. Gehlot, you will now make way for Sachin Pilot. And Sachin Pilot becomes the chief minister so that he's able to demonstrate his leadership, not just for the campaign that he won for the Congress in 18, but now give Sachin Pilot a chance to, experience political administration and governance. And Sachin is young. He's definitely the political future. And let him try and win back Rajasthan in 2023. Mr. Gehlot, given his extraordinary political experience, should have been given a role in the AICC structure, telling him, why don't you work on the weak states of the Congress, like Bihar and UP? Bihar is going for elections, and work to reviving the Congress in these states. Give him the critical role of actually using his experience to good use. And in the Rajasthan, because you should split your position between the chief minister and someone who heads your party, the Congress party could have appointed somebody else as the Rajasthan Pradesh Congress Committee chief. So you would have had 3 interesting changes. A new chief minister of Rajasthan who would be happy and ready to go, and with a high command backing him, there would be no internal drama of resort politics at all. Mr. Gehlot ought to have felt very good to become a strategic asset at the center. And you'd have had a new leader taking up a role in the Rajasthan politics. I mean, it is so easy. It is a no-brainer, Shweta. I'll be very honest with you. But the Congress has got a knack for, making a mountain of a molehill.
Okay. Some conspiracy theorists are also of the belief right now that with Sachin Pilot, Jyotiraditya Scindia gone, it looks like all the charismatic leaders who could potentially replace Rahul Gandhi are also wiped off. And that perhaps was the intention.
Well, I hope, I've been reading this, and if that is the case, if it is true, even if it's 10% true, it's deeply unfortunate. I don't think politicians should be that insecure. But I don't think that's true. Sachin Pilot is going to be with the Congress. He's already made a public statement. And many of us, even if the Congress has suspended me, I'm not leaving the Congress. And I think the Congress still retains its core fiber. I do hope that we learn from the Jyotiraditya example. In my opinion, a terrific politician. I always felt that Jyotiraditya and Sachin both combined the leadership skills to either lead the party in terms of being a Congress president or be a future prime minister. It's a great pity that Jyotiraditya left. Sachin, I'm glad, is very much there.
But if not Rahul Gandhi, then who? There's nobody remaining at this point in time, Sanjay. With people like yourself out of the party now, there is absolutely no potential candidate that we can see who would possibly become the president of the Congress party in coming few months or days.
Shraddha, let me tell you that the Congress party has got so much of good assets out there, wonderful people with, political passion, you know, very grounded in terms of their ability to run campaigns, great orators, bilingual. There are people. I mean, I do believe that a Sachin or a Sashi Tharoor were excellent candidates and continue to be good candidates if they get an opportunity. Invite people to pitch. If you remember, go back to 1984. Nobody thought that Rajiv Gandhi could be a prime minister. And until a lot of stuff went wrong in the latter part of his tenure, I mean, for somebody like me who was pretty much part of the 20s generation when he was the prime minister, 1984, 85, 86, until early 87, India looked a different country. It was like a golden phase of a new politics. Young leader bringing in a different spirit to politics. So you give people a chance, somebody will rise and deliver. And I want to put it out in black and white on your channel. The time has come for a non-Gandhi political leader to take the Congress forward.
I'm sure the entire country concur with you at this point. But just a couple of more questions before I let you go.
Sure.
As far as leadership is concerned in Congress party, you've mentioned somewhere in an interview saying that Congress is its own biggest enemy. What did you mean by that?
I mean, look at what's happening in Rajasthan. I mean, we are now doing resort politics in the state where we are in government. We can't blame the BJP for a change, right? I mean, what has happened is not Operation Lotus. I mean, this is frankly, Operation Bogus that we are doing on ourselves. It's terrible news. Honestly, it's terrible news. And if you look at it, how will the people of India take Congress seriously if they say this is a party which calls itself the party of natural governance, that has given away Karnataka, given away Madhya Pradesh, is destabilizing its own state, is allowing two of its most prominent leaders to get into loggerheads in Rajasthan, is absolutely bizarre. And this is what it's a reflection of. That ultimately, if you don't get your house in order, if you're not able to fix your internal problems, then don't blame the BJP for coming, poaching and offering some kind of a financial allurement where your leaders have become so vulnerable or disillusioned, they're happy to walk away on the other side. This is what I mean when I say that the Congress party's internal bickerings, its own internecine politics, is of legend. By the way, this is of legend. If you remember, even Rajiv Gandhi's government became weak because of his own internal tussles with Arun Nehru, Arun Singh, and that time Vishwanath Pratap Singh. And a government of 414 in 5 years came down to 197. It was not the opposition. It was the advice given by the internal circle that made the Prime Minister take the call on Shah Banu or then the Shilanyas ceremony in Ayodhya. So this is what I mean, that the party needs to be a lot more open, candid, listen to different opinions, and please do away with this Darbari politics of Lutyens Delhi.
But Sanjay, some would say then the BJP is going the right way because they have a powerful leader at the center and therefore no bickering, therefore no chance of internal party mutiny. And one leader runs it all. So are you saying that you now agree with BJP way of functioning?
No, I think there are two sides to a coin. The Congress at the moment and the BJP are similar in one aspect and dissimilar in another. Both of them clearly have a centralized command authority. Okay, the difference is that one of them is responding to its people even if it takes its own call. So if you look at Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, they clearly are the two big bosses who run the BJP. Okay, but from what I know, they also listen to the people, although they take the final call. In the Congress, yes, we have again just 2 or 3 people in the Congress, but they are not even hearing their own people. So what they're hearing is their own voices and a very close coterie, and that becomes their echo chamber. I'm sorry, but for the Congress party in opposition, when you need to be hungry, you need to be like a tiger on the prowl. We are at the moment behaving like a lamb ready to go for the slaughterhouse.
But Sanjay, if you were unhappy, and this is what your critics say at the moment, that if you were unhappy, why did you not raise it internally before coming out and with articles that you say were not critical, but that you say that you were not, indulging in anti-party activity, but rather pointing out at the flaws and trying to course correct? Could you not have done that internally?
Shweta, I really wish I could. I'm glad you asked me this question. Frankly, if there were internal forums that we were aware of, secondly, if those forums were working, believe me, I would have never written an op-ed in the Times of India. Never. The fact is, in the Congress, no one is listening. No one is, frankly, therefore responding. And third, clearly we have created all kinds of these artificial walls. If you remember, Rahul Gandhi once said in the AICC session, I will smash the walls between the leadership of the Congress party and the common man. Those walls, unfortunately, have become fortified, with those impregnable bricks that you see in these commercial ads. The guys go breaking the wall, but nothing really happens. I don't know which cement it is, but it's a very powerful wall, hard to really crack down.
All right. So what's next for Sanjay Jha?
Now, Shweta, let me tell you, I have written that in my Twitter bio this morning. I'm a Congressee by DNA. A lot of people in the Congress fail to understand me, and I'll be very frank with you, because I have never sought any political position. I've worked for the party gratis. I travel back and forth to different parts of the country for the party without asking the party to pay for it. I have actually just enjoyed being part of an ideological battle to take on the BJP, because when I officially took a position in the Congress, I remember telling my wife and my kids, I'm very happy to be part of a political organization in whose history you have people like Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Nehru and Dr. Ambedkar and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Sardar Patel, Sarojini Naidu. What a Lokmanya Tilak! What an excellent, mind-boggling history. Mm-hmm. And that's what gave me the real kick, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Right now, I feel that we have forgotten our history. I think we need to recapture the history to make our future a lot brighter.
So at no certain time in future, are we going to see Sanjay joining the BJP, right?
Not just the BJP. I'm not going to join any other political party. No one at all.
All right, Sanjay Jha. Thanks very much for your time, sir. Thank you for speaking to the Logical Indian.